He received a wedding invitation from his daughter, the same daughter he buried 10 years ago. And when he arrived, everyone was smiling, except her. Michael lost his 12-year-old daughter, Emma, in a tragic accident that shattered his entire world in a single moment. After that day, time didn't feel like it moved forward for him anymore. The house stayed silent, heavy with memories he couldn't escape. Emma's room remained untouched, her bed still neatly made, her clothes still hanging, her small things still exactly where she left them. 10 years passed, but nothing changed inside that room, because Michael never had the strength to open the door and accept the truth. To him, she was never truly gone, just waiting. One evening, Michael heard the mail drop at his door. He didn't expect anything anymore, but something about that sound felt different. On the floor was a single golden envelope, clean, unfamiliar, and almost unreal. His hands trembled as he picked it up, sensing something was wrong before he even opened it. Inside, there was only one line: "You are invited to Emma's wedding." Michael froze. His breath stopped as his eyes locked on the name at the bottom. It was signed Emma, and for the first time in 10 years, his past didn't feel buried anymore. He went, even though every part of him told him not to. The church stood quietly under dim light, filled with people Michael didn't recognize. Everyone sat perfectly still, as if they were waiting for something sacred or something terrible. Soft music echoed through the hall, slow and distant, like it was coming from another world. Michael's heartbeat grew louder with every step he took down the aisle. His hands were cold, his mind unsettled, but something deeper kept pushing him forward. Then it happened. The heavy wooden doors at the back slowly opened. A soft light spilled inside, and the bride appeared. For a moment, Michael couldn't breathe. It was Emma. Not as a memory, not as a dream. She was there, alive, grown up, walking slowly toward the altar in a white dress that looked almost unreal under the light. Michael's eyes filled instantly. His chest tightened painfully, like his heart couldn't decide whether to break or believe. 10 years of silence shattered in a second. But then he saw her face more clearly. She wasn't smiling, not even a little. There was no joy in her eyes, only something distant, something heavy. Like she wasn't returning to a celebration, but walking into something she couldn't escape. And in that moment, Michael's hope turned into fear, because the daughter he thought he had lost didn't look like she had come back to life. She looked like she had come back, carrying something he couldn't see. Michael slowly walked toward her, as if every step was heavier than the last. His eyes never left her face. She looked real, too real. "Emma," his voice cracked. "Is that really you?" For a moment, she didn't answer. The entire church felt like it was holding its breath with him. Then she finally looked up. Her eyes met his, and in a soft, broken voice, she said, "Dad, you weren't supposed to come." Those words didn't feel like a greeting. They felt like a warning, like she wasn't surprised to see him, but disappointed that he made it. And then something changed, not slowly, not naturally, instantly. The soft wedding music began to stretch, like tape being pulled too far. Each note distorted, breaking into unnatural echoes that didn't belong in this world. Michael turned his head slightly. The guests were still sitting, but no one was moving. No blinking, no breathing, no whispering, just stillness, like time itself had forgotten them. A chill ran through his body. "Emma, what is this?" he whispered.
but she didn't answer. Instead, her fingers tightened around her bouquet, as if she was holding on to something she didn't want to lose. Then it happened. A faint click. The clock on the church wall stopped, not slowed, not stuck, stopped completely. Michael looked around in panic. One of the guests had a glass halfway to their lips, frozen in place. A flower girl stood mid-step, never finishing the step. Even the flickering candles became still flames, like painted fire. Reality didn't feel broken anymore. It felt paused, like someone had pressed stop on the entire world. "Emma!" Michael's voice shook now, deeper with fear. "What's happening?" For the first time, her expression changed. Not anger, not sadness, something worse. Guilt. She stepped closer to him, lowering her voice so only he could hear. "I tried to stop you from coming here." Michael's heart sank. "Why?" Her eyes trembled. "Because I didn't want you to remember." A deep silence swallowed the space between them. And then the lights above flickered once, twice, then dimmed slightly. Not darkness, but something between light and shadow. Emma's voice cracked as she continued. "Dad, this isn't a wedding." She paused, her grip on the bouquet loosened. "It's the moment you refuse to accept." Michael felt his knees weaken, his breath stopped, because suddenly the church didn't feel like a place anymore. It felt like a memory, a trapped one, a memory that refused to end. And in that horrifying stillness, Michael finally understood. Nothing here was alive. Not the guests, not the music, not even time. Only his grief was still moving. Heartbreak. And the more he looked at Emma, the more he realized she wasn't trying to bring him back to life. She was trying to tell him he never left the moment she died.
Michael stood frozen in the middle of the silent church. Everything around him felt unreal, but the pain in his chest was real. Too real. Like something inside him had been slowly breaking for years, and only now it was finally cracking open completely. He looked at Emma, not the bride, not the illusion, but his daughter, or what was left of her in this impossible moment. "Emma," his voice came out barely above a whisper. "Tell me what's happening, please." For a moment, she didn't speak. Her eyes softened, not like a stranger, but like a child trying to explain something too heavy for words. Then, she slowly stepped closer. Each step felt like it carried years of silence between them. "Dad," she said gently, her voice shaking. "You're not supposed to be here like this." Michael shook his head, tears already forming. "What do you mean? I came for you. I saw you. You're here. You're alive." But even as he said it, his voice didn't sound certain anymore. Emma looked down at his trembling hands, and for the first time, she didn't look like she was hiding something. She looked like she was carrying it. A truth too heady for a child, even in memory. "Dad," she whispered again, softer this time. "I never came back." Those words hit him harder than anything else. The air left his lungs. His mind tried to reject it immediately, to fight it, to deny it. But something deeper inside him, something buried for 10 long years, started to rise. Memories. Not the kind he chose to remember, but the kind he buried. The rain, the road, the sound of brakes, her voice calling his name one last time. Michael stumbled back slightly. "No." He shook his head violently. "No, I saw you grow up. I received the invitation. I came here. I came here to bring you back." His voice broke. "I came here to bring you back." Emma's eyes filled with tears, and she stepped even closer now, close enough that he could almost feel her warmth. But it wasn't warmth of life. It was warmth of memory. "Dad," she said, trembling now, "you didn't come here." A pause. A painful, endless pause. "You never left that night." The words shattered something inside him. His knees weakened. The church around him flickered, not like light breaking, but like reality losing focus. Suddenly, fragments began to surface. Not clear memories, but feelings. A hospital room. A phone call no one answered. Hands shaking on a steering wheel. A scream that never fully left his throat. And then, silence. Michael's breathing became uneven. "No," he whispered again, but this time weaker. "It wasn't like that. I went home. I lived. I survived." But even as he said it, the words felt distant, like they belonged to someone else. Emma reached for his hand, and this time, he didn't pull away. Because something inside him finally understood. She wasn't returning to him. He was returning to her. "Dad," she said softly, tears falling now. "I tried to make it peaceful for you." Her voice cracked. "But you turned the memory into a world." Michael looked at her through blurred vision. "What world?" Emma glanced around the frozen church, the unmoving guests, the still air, the stopped clock, the broken music hanging in silence. Then she looked back at him. "This is the place you stayed in," she whispered, "because you couldn't accept leaving me." The truth hit him fully now, not as information, but as collapse. He wasn't attending a wedding. He wasn't seeing the impossible. He wasn't being reunited. He was trapped inside the moment his mind refused to survive. And Emma was not bringing him back. She was the part of him that had been waiting for him to finally understand. Michael broke down completely. Not loudly, not dramatically, but like something inside him finally stopped resisting. His forehead dropped slightly. His voice cracked into silence. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Not to the world, not to the church, but to her, to the moment, to the truth. Emma squeezed his hand tightly, and for the first time, she smiled. A small, painful, loving smile. "It's okay, Dad," she whispered. "Now you can let it go." And in that moment, Michael didn't lose his daughter again. He finally lost the illusion that had kept him alive.
The moment Michael understood the truth, the church stopped feeling like a place. It stopped feeling real. The air around him grew heavier, quieter, almost sacred in a painful way, like the world itself was preparing to say goodbye. The guests, still frozen in their impossible stillness, began to fade first. Not suddenly, but gently, like dust disappearing in sunlight. One by one, their faces blurred, their shapes dissolved, until there was nothing left of them at all. No sound, no movement, no presence, just emptiness. And then, the church itself began to change. The wooden benches lost their edges. The walls softened into shadows. The candles stopped existing as light and became memories of light. Everything around Michael was slowly being erased, not destroyed, but released. And in the center of all that fading, she remained. Emma, standing exactly where she had always been. Real, but not real in the way the world understands. Her presence felt like the only thing still holding the moment together. Michael looked at her through tear-filled eyes. For the first time, there was no confusion left in him. Only truth, only love, only regret. Emma stepped closer to him, slowly, gently, as if she had been waiting 10 long years just for this exact moment. She took his trembling hand in hers, and it felt warm, familiar, like a memory finally becoming soft instead of painful. Her eyes were full of tears now, but her voice was calm, almost peaceful, and she whispered, "I've been here all along, Dad. You just couldn't let me go." Those words didn't hurt him anymore. They completed him. Michael's body shook as everything he had held inside for years finally collapsed, not violently, but quietly, like a door that had been locked too long, finally giving in. He pulled her into his arms. For the first time in 10 years, he wasn't holding on to pain. He was holding on to goodbye. His voice broke completely as he whispered into her shoulder, "I'm sorry I couldn't say goodbye." Emma didn't pull away. She held him back just as tightly, as if she had been waiting for this exact moment of acceptance. And in a soft, broken, loving voice, she replied, "It's okay. Now you can." The words didn't feel like permission. They felt like release. The world around them began to dissolve completely. The last remaining pieces of the church faded into soft white light, like the beginning of something or the end of everything. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was peaceful. Michael closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel lost. He didn't feel trapped. He didn't feel broken. He felt understood. Everything around them turned into pure light. No pain, no fear, no time. Just stillness, just love, just goodbye. And in the end, Michael didn't lose his daughter. He finally found the moment he had been running from and let it go. Some goodbyes don't happen when we lose someone. They happen when we finally accept it.
This story made you feel something? Doesn't scroll away. Subscribe to Hidden Tear for more emotional stories that stay with you long after the end. Because sometimes the deepest tears are the ones no one sees. Turn on notifications. You never know when the next story will break your heart again.